Leggendario. Sir, yes, sir. Got to tell you everything, have I? Well, is it my 8th solo record?
Yeah.
Is it?
So.
My 8th solo record
in
in 8 years. So, well, you know, where can I start? I mean, I was happily doing nothing when my manager suggested I do a record to get my juices flowing, hoping that I would go back into the studio and decide not to retire, that I would come out charging on a white Charger and go back to my audience and say, I'm back! So I decided to at least make the record, you know, because it was something I wanted to do all my life, I think. You know, I could have made this record at any point in my life, because when I was a teenager, it's the music I listened to, amongst other music, the Beatles and, you know, other songs, of course, but Motown was always very important to me. So I decided that this was a good opportunity, because I didn't see it as work. I saw it as more of a fun idea. You know, I didn't really want to get back on the carousel of work and promotion and that kind of stuff. But of course, that's inevitable, that once you make a record, you have to do that kind of thing, so that's okay. Well, that used to be me. I had a lovely girlfriend. I did have a lovely girlfriend. But, yeah, I mean, that was taken when I was about 13, probably. And by that point, I'd already been playing drums for 8 years. 8 years, yeah. So I was already a professional drummer in my head, you know. But yes, I remember lots of things from my childhood. I had a very happy childhood, and my teenage years were fantastic. I went to a drama school. At this point, probably I have just left grammar school and just started drama school. And I stayed there till I was about 18, 17, and then I left drama school and became a professional musician, which meant really that I didn't have a job. You know, I just played with groups, getting a few pounds a week, and my mother subsidising me. Well, I'm not sure it has any importance other than the fact that it's still some of the best music ever written. I mean, on the sleeve notes of the record, I say I'm sure people will disagree with me, but there have been fewer high moments, fewer peaks in creativity than the 60s. You know, I mean, with the Beatles, obviously, and with Motown, obviously, the peaks of songwriting were extraordinary. You know, the whole thing suddenly went into overdrive. You had Bill Haley, you had Elvis Presley, you had all the rock and roll people, but then suddenly the Beatles came, you know, and people were writing their own songs, and the melody, classic melodies that still sound great. I mean, my son, 33, you know, Simon, I gave him a CD of the album when it was halfway through, and he plays it to his friends when they have friends around for dinner, and he says, it's funny, every time I play it, people get up and they feel good, you know, they start to dance and things. And it's kind of true that it's really optimistic, happy music. And it's, you know, it was written in a kind of happy, optimistic time. Whether you want to call that post-war, you know, I mean, let's face it, 62 was not that far long after the war, you know. I mean, it was a period of rebuilding for everybody, you know. I don't know, very optimistic. Yeah, Italy was the first country to really take to Genesis. I mean, we were playing 20,000 people in the Palace Sport in Rome and Pavia and Rimini and places like this, Siena and Reggio Emilia. You know, we were playing for Palace Sports when we were still playing clubs in England. You know, I mean, I don't know why particularly. I mean, apart from the fact that the music was, you know, Premiata Foneria Marconi, you remember? They were another band that that were very popular. They were Italian, of course, but it was music that was operatic. It was cinemascope. It was Technicolor, you know. And I think the audiences didn't understand what we were singing about, but the moods of music. I remember we'd start playing a song like the Musical Box, you know, and the audience would be sitting very quietly, and then suddenly the mood would change, and you know, they'd applaud the mood changes, the feelings, the emotional thing. And we always found it interesting that they didn't understand the words, but they got the feeling of the music much more than anybody else did. Well, I'm going to split up due to musical differences.
Phil and Collins.
Yes, Phil and Collins, and then maybe I'll reform. I don't know what the next step is. The next step is going home to bed. No, I'm not sure what the next step is. I'm not even sure there is a next step. You know, I'm going to do everything I can to make this record. People aware of this record because I'm very proud of it. But after that, you know, I don't know. I want to go back to playing a bit of golf. I want to, you know, just do normal things. I have no plans, which is nice to say, because all my life I've had plans. I have an iPhone which I just use as a games machine, you know, and I've got two actually, and I got ones for the kids, and I put the games on, and that keeps them quiet in the car, you know, if they want to play something, so they play on their iPhone, my iPhone.
You should go on the iPad now.
Yeah, I know, but I can't afford the iPad. No, it's the iPhone is bad enough. I've got like 3 iPods, you know. I mean, if you ever tried updating 3 iPods, you spend all your life trying to update things. So really, up until the year 2000, I didn't even have a computer. I recorded everything on tape, and it's only when I did the music for Brother Bear for Disney, which was, as well as writing the songs, they said, you know, we want you to write some underscore music. And they said, but for God's sake, get a computer. Because without a computer, you will just kill yourself. Because, you know, they obviously with filming, you know, they take 5 frames of the film out. You've got to match this music has to follow the frames, you know. So that's when I started getting involved in computers. Otherwise, I was pretty much computer ignorant. But I really use it just for communicating with people, and I say iTunes, photographs. They've now become the photograph album. You know, iPhotos. Instead of having photographs in books, you know, you have it on iPhoto. But I must say that I actually do print photographs and put them in frames now. Otherwise, they don't really exist. You feel like, you know, something could happen and all your photographs, your life just disappears. So I'm always very careful with that.
Thank you so much.
And something I said?